What if the strange coincidences in your life weren't coincidences at all? What if they were signals, proof that you're connected to another version of yourself, existing in a completely different reality right now? Today, we're going to uncover the hidden signs that reveal you're aligned with a parallel reality. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to consciously navigate that connection to create a life of clarity, growth, and transformation. But before we go deeper, take this moment to stay fully present. If you're ready to expand your understanding of reality and awaken to the unseen forces guiding your path, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next step of this journey. Most people believe they are only the person they see in the mirror, a single self, living one linear timeline. But modern quantum physics and advanced spiritual science are painting a very different picture. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics suggests that every decision, every possibility branches off into countless versions of reality. At the same time, ancient spiritual teachings have long spoken of the multi-layered self, the soul expressing itself through infinite dimensions of experience. For centuries, these two perspectives seemed worlds apart, one buried in equations, the other in sacred rituals and inner exploration. But now they are converging, revealing a profound truth. You are not limited to one life, one version of you, or one timeline. Imagine this: every time you made a choice, whether to take that job, end that relationship, move to a new city, an alternate version of you made the opposite choice. In one timeline, you stayed. In another, you left. Each version of you continues to live, grow, and evolve. And sometimes the boundaries between those realities overlap. When this happens, you might feel it as a whisper of intuition, an unexplainable pull, or a series of events that seem too perfectly timed to be random. These are hidden signs from your parallel self, trying to guide you toward alignment with your highest path. Here's why this matters. When you learn to recognize these signs, you gain access to a source of wisdom far beyond your conscious mind. It's like having a guide who has already walked every path you didn't choose, who knows the consequences of each decision, and is gently nudging you toward the timeline where you thrive. Over the next few minutes, we'll explore the first and most common sign that your parallel self is reaching out. And as we go deeper, you'll see how these experiences are not random, mystical events, but part of a precise, vibrational process that you can learn to work with consciously. Have you ever felt a sudden certainty, a deep inner knowing that defied all logic? Maybe you felt compelled to change your route home, only to discover later that you avoided an accident. Or perhaps you met someone and instantly felt as if you had known them for lifetimes. This kind of knowing isn't just intuition. From a quantum perspective, it's interference between timelines, like two frequencies crossing for a brief moment. From a spiritual perspective, it's a message, your other self reaching across dimensions to share what they've already experienced. This is not fantasy. Neuroscience has shown that the brain processes vast amounts of information beneath conscious awareness, while spiritual traditions explain that our higher consciousness is always connected to the greater field of existence. When these two forces meet, you experience what feels like a flash of insight, but it's actually a ripple from another timeline. Most people dismiss these moments. They chalk them up to coincidence or imagination. But when you pause, breathe, and truly listen, you'll notice something powerful. The more you acknowledge these subtle whispers, the stronger they become. It's as if your other self realizes you're paying attention, and the connection deepens. This is why practices like meditation, mindful breathing, and journaling are so essential. They quiet the constant noise of daily life, allowing you to perceive these delicate signals with clarity. You are not creating the connection through these practices. You are tuning into it, like adjusting a radio to pick up a clear station. Quantum physics describes the universe as a field of infinite probabilities. Until observed, every particle exists in a state of potential, a wave function, containing all possibilities at once. When you focus your awareness, you collapse that wave into a single reality. Spiritual science uses different language, but it points to the same truth. Your consciousness is not just inside your body, it's part of the universal field, constantly interacting with the frequencies around you. When you raise your vibrational state through gratitude, intention, and awareness, you align with higher timelines, realities where your potential self already exists in harmony and abundance. In other words, your parallel self is not separate from you. It is you, vibrating at a different frequency, walking a path you haven't chosen yet. The first sign often appears subtle. You might notice a repeated pattern of thoughts, a dream that feels too real, or a sudden wave of emotion that has no clear cause. These are echoes from another timeline surfacing in your present moment. Here's a simple exercise to strengthen your awareness. Pause when you feel a strong emotion or intuition. Don't rush to act. Just breathe and observe. Ask yourself, is this feeling entirely mine, or could it be a signal from another version of me? Trust whatever arises, even if it doesn't make logical sense. Record your impressions. Keep a dedicated notebook or voice memo just for these moments. Over time, you'll notice patterns emerging, a map of your multidimensional self. The key to working with parallel realities is attention without fear. Many people experience these signs but shut down because they feel overwhelmed or afraid of losing control. But here's the truth. You are never at the mercy of these realities. You are the bridge, the conscious point where they converge. By recognizing and honoring the first sign, the quiet echo of knowing, you take your first step toward active alignment. From here, the connection will only grow, guiding you toward the timeline where your highest potential unfolds. As we continue, we'll explore the second sign, which often appears in dreams, symbols, and synchronicities so precise they seem impossible to ignore. But before we move forward, take a moment to reflect on your own life. Has there ever been a time when you felt guided by something beyond logic, a knowing that seemed to come from nowhere? Hold that memory close, because it may be the first proof that your parallel self has been reaching out all along. The first sign we explored was the quiet echo of knowing, those flashes of intuition that feel like whispers from another timeline. But the second sign is bolder, more vivid. It comes to you through dreams, symbols, and synchronicities that are so precise, they seem impossible to dismiss. Have you ever woken from a dream so intense, so real, that you carried its emotions with you all day? Maybe you were in a place you've never seen before, talking to someone you don't consciously know. Yet somehow, it all felt familiar. This isn't just your mind playing tricks on you. From a spiritual science perspective, dreams are one of the most powerful gateways between dimensions. While your physical body rests, your consciousness expands beyond the limits of this timeline, accessing the field of infinite possibilities. Quantum physics supports this. When you sleep, your brain waves shift into patterns that resemble the quantum field itself, a state of pure potential. In this state, the boundaries between timelines thin, allowing glimpses of your parallel selves to rise into your awareness. Here's a story that illustrates this perfectly. A man named Ethan shared that for months. He had a recurring dream of standing in a vast library, filled with books he couldn't read. Each night, he wandered the aisles, feeling both lost and deeply at home. One night, he opened a single book and saw his own name on every page. At first, he dismissed it as just a strange dream. But as his waking life became increasingly stressful, a job he hated, a relationship falling apart, the dreams grew brighter, more urgent. One morning, after a particularly vivid dream, Ethan woke with a single clear thought. It's time to write my own story. Within weeks, he left his toxic job and began pursuing the creative work he'd always been afraid to try. As he made these changes, the dream stopped. Why? Because the message had been received. His parallel self had been reaching across timelines, urging him to choose the path of growth and freedom. Dreams aren't the only way your parallel self communicates. Sometimes, the messages come through symbols in your waking life, repeated patterns that seem too precise to be random. Have you ever noticed the same number appearing over and over? 11:11 on the clock. A song playing at the exact moment you needed its message. Meeting a stranger who says the exact words you were silently thinking. These aren't coincidences. They're what psychologist Carl Jung called synchronicities, meaningful connections between inner and outer worlds. From a spiritual perspective, these are vibrational ripples, proof that multiple timelines are brushing up against each other. Everything in the universe, including your thoughts and emotions, has a frequency. When your vibration rises through self-awareness, gratitude, and conscious intention, you begin to align with higher timelines, realities where your parallel self is thriving. This alignment acts like a signal booster. Your parallel self sends out messages, and you receive them as symbols and synchronicities in your daily life. The more you notice and honor these signs, the clearer and more frequent they become. Here's a simple example. A woman named Sophia kept seeing butterflies everywhere, in artwork, in random conversations, even as actual butterflies crossing her path at strange moments. At first, she thought nothing of it, but after a series of deeply emotional meditations, she realized the butterflies symbolized transformation. Her parallel self, who had already gone through a major life change, was sending her encouragement to embrace her own metamorphosis. 2 months later, She made a bold decision to leave a stagnant relationship and move across the country. The very next day, the constant butterfly sightings stopped. The message had been delivered and acted upon. If you want to strengthen your ability to notice and interpret these signs, try these 3 steps. Create a dream journal. Write down your dreams immediately upon waking, even fragments. Over time, you'll see patterns that reveal guidance from your parallel self. Pay attention to repetition. If a symbol, number, or phrase keeps showing up in your life, pause and reflect on its possible meaning. Ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? Meditate with intention. Before sleep or meditation, silently ask your higher self to reveal what you most need to know. This act of conscious permission opens the vibrational channel between you and your other selves. From a quantum perspective, these signs are interference patterns, like overlapping, waves creating visible ripples. When 2 timelines come into resonance, the interaction leaves imprints in your reality. Imagine 2 musical notes playing at the same time. When they're in harmony, they create a beautiful chord. When they clash, they create dissonance. Your life works the same way. When you're aligned with your highest timeline, synchronicities flow smoothly and feel empowering. When you're out of alignment, the signs may feel chaotic or confusing, signaling the need to realign your frequency. The modern world trains us to ignore the subtle. We're taught to value logic over intuition, external noise over inner guidance. But here's the truth. The universe doesn't speak in shouting voices. It whispers through patterns, symbols, and feelings. When you dismiss these whispers as just coincidence, you weaken the connection with your parallel self. But when you honor them, you strengthen the bridge between timelines, allowing deeper guidance to flow into your life. This second sign, dreams, symbols, and synchronicities, is your invitation to participate actively in your own evolution. It shows that your life is part of a much larger tapestry, woven across dimensions. You are not just reacting to the world around you. You are co-creating reality with every thought, choice, and vibration. As you begin to notice and decode these signs, you'll find that even the smallest details of your day hold meaning. A glance, a word, a song on the radio, all become part of a conversation between you and your parallel selves. In a moment, we'll explore the 3rd and most dramatic sign, one that appears in your waking life as undeniable events, moments when timelines don't just overlap, but collapse, reshaping everything you thought you knew about destiny. But first, take a quiet moment to reflect. What recurring dream, symbol, or synchronicity has been appearing in your life lately? Consider that it may not be random at all, but a message from a version of you, urging you toward a reality where you are fully aligned with your purpose. Up to now, we've explored the subtle signs, the quiet knowing, and the powerful symbols that hint at the presence of your parallel selves. But this final sign, it's impossible to ignore. It doesn't whisper. It shakes your reality to its core. It's called timeline collapse, the moment when different versions of you converge and multiple realities fold into a single dominant path. Imagine this. You're walking through your day like any other. The same streets, the same routine. But then, something feels off. You check the time, and for a split second, it doesn't make sense. A place you've walked past 100 times suddenly looks different, as if it never existed before, or as if it's always been there, and you just didn't notice. Someone greets you like an old friend, but you've never met them. These aren't random glitches. They are the physical manifestation of timelines merging. 2 or more versions of your life are collapsing into one, and you are at the center of that convergence. From a quantum physics perspective, this is similar to wave function collapse, when infinite possibilities exist simultaneously, and your focus causes one of them to become real. Spiritually, it's a moment of profound awakening. The universe is showing you that you are the bridge between worlds. There's a story about a woman named Elara who began noticing strange inconsistencies in her life. Her childhood memories didn't always match those of her siblings. She'd recall vivid details about family trips that her parents swore never happened. One day, while walking to work, she stopped in front of a small bookstore. It felt oddly familiar, like she had been there countless times, yet she knew, without a doubt, it hadn't been there yesterday. The next day, the bookstore was gone. Elara realized that her choices were shifting her reality, merging timelines where different decisions had been made. In one version of her life, she never pursued her passion for writing. In another, she became a celebrated author. The disappearing bookstore was a symbolic message. She was standing at the crossroads, and the timeline she aligned with depended on her next decision. That night, she sat down and began writing her first book. From that point on, Her life began to flow in ways she had once only dreamed of. The timelines had collapsed into one path, guided by her highest self. A timeline collapse doesn't happen randomly. It occurs when you reach a point of vibrational mastery, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align so powerfully that the universe responds instantly. The law of vibration teaches that everything in existence moves at a specific frequency. When you consciously raise your vibration through love, gratitude, and purpose, you begin to resonate with higher versions of yourself. As that resonance grows stronger, lower timelines, those built on fear, limitation, and doubt, and dissolve. What remains is a reality that reflects your highest potential. This isn't just a spiritual concept. Neuroscience shows that when your heart and brain reach a state of coherence, your entire electromagnetic field changes. You literally emit a signal that organizes the chaos around you into harmony. In quantum terms, you become the observer and creator, collapsing infinite probabilities into a chosen outcome. Here are 3 signs that you're experiencing this powerful phenomenon. Sudden shifts in your environment. Objects, places, or people seem to appear or disappear. Memories feel mismatched, as if they belong to someone else. Intense physical sensations. A rush of energy, chills, or a feeling of lightness, as if gravity itself has shifted. Some describe it as a wave of electricity passing through their body. Rapid manifestations. Things you've been focusing on, consciously or unconsciously, begin to appear with uncanny speed. Opportunities, relationships, and synchronicities align almost instantly. If you've experienced these signs, you're not losing touch with reality. You're merging with your highest timeline, and your parallel selves are uniting into one clear, powerful version of you. A timeline collapse can feel overwhelming, even disorienting. Here's how to stay balanced during this transformative process. Ground yourself through breath. When the world feels unstable, slow, deep breathing reminds your nervous system that you are safe. This keeps fear from pulling you into lower timelines. Anchor with gratitude. Gratitude isn't just a pleasant feeling, it's a vibrational stabilizer. By focusing on what you appreciate, you send a clear signal to the universe. I choose harmony and abundance. Take inspired action. When a powerful sign appears, don't just observe it, act. Timelines respond to action. Even a small step can lock in a higher reality. This phenomenon reveals a profound spiritual truth. You are not a passive passenger in the universe. You are a creator, actively weaving the threads of your destiny with every thought and decision. The collapse of timelines is not something to fear. It's a gift, proof that you've reached a level of alignment where your power is undeniable. It means you've integrated lessons from countless versions of yourself, bringing their wisdom and strength into this present moment. Every choice you make now carries extraordinary weight. With each decision, you're not just shaping your own life, you're influencing the collective field of reality itself. As we close this journey, remember the 3 hidden signs we've explored. The quiet knowing, flashes of intuition that guide you toward your true path. The messages in dreams, symbols, and synchronicities, your parallel selves reaching out to you. The timeline collapse, the ultimate confirmation that you are stepping into your highest reality. Right now, take a deep breath and feel into your heart. Ask yourself, which version of me do I want to become? The answer to that question is already shaping the reality you'll experience next. If this exploration opened your mind and heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your journey might inspire them to recognize their own signs and step into alignment with their highest timeline. And remember, the timelines are always shifting. Every moment is a new chance to choose growth, love, and purpose. The future isn't something you wait for, it's something you create, one decision at a time. If you're ready to keep expanding your reality and don't want to miss the next step in this journey, hit subscribe and turn on notifications now so together we can continue exploring the mysteries of the universe and the power within you.